close the bars and keep the schools open is what we really say.
That was Dr. Fauci in a recent interview encouraging states now to keep the schools open during the pandemic. Fauci's comments sparked a nationwide debate on returning to school during a COVID surge. Joining me now is author, columnist, and quote-unquote Mr. Dad himself, Armin Brott. Armin, thank you for joining us, Mr. Dad, the dad's dad, I hear. Tell us what's the challenges of the stay-at-home orders. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is for parents to try to explain to their kids how it is that they are supposed to believe the adults when the adults in their lives tell them something, because it's gone back and forth. At the very beginning, you're supposed to wear masks. No, wait a minute, don't wear masks. And you're supposed to go to school, but oh, wait, we can't go to school. And then it's, you can't go to your synagogue or your church, but you can go to a restaurant. It's just been all over the place. And I think the lack of consistent messaging from the top is raising a lot of difficulties for parents who are trying to say, you need to pay attention to the scientists, you need to pay attention to the authority figures, and the authority figures can't seem to get their messages straight. That's the biggest problem that I see.
So confusing the dad and mom got to be even more confusing, multiples more confusing to kids.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the parents, of course, are no more informed than the kids are. I mean, I think I was just reading something today that it's saying that for anybody under the age of 70, there's a 99.9% recovery rate from COVID. So absolutely, we should try to get our kids out there. We should get our kids, especially the young ones who really need the socialization. We need to do everything we can. And yeah, the pictures that we're seeing right now are exactly what kids need to do, and they're doing fine. They will understand when we tell them, okay, you're going to have to wear masks, or you're going to have to sit in front of a funny table that's got some plastic around it. They will understand this stuff. We just need to give them a message and stick with it.
Yeah, what is the message though? Here's the problem. State to state. In one state, you can go to a restaurant, sit down and have dinner with family, with friends even, other families and friends at the next table, but you can't bring your kid to a park outside and play with another kid. I'm confused. It's got to be confusing to them. So what do? You just go, just assume and nod your head and say, my governor says this is what I'm allowed to do, so I'm going to do it?
No, I think this is one of these times. I mean, we live in a republic, so every state is going to have its own laws and regulations, and the governments are not going to be consistent, or the governors are not going to be consistent from one state to the next. But I think parents are going to have to just sit down and say, this is what we're going to do in our family. And I remember this is an approach that applies to pretty much everything. Is I would love to talk to you about this. We can negotiate things when you're talking to your kids. We can go back and forth. You can question me. But when it comes to health and safety, I'm making the decisions that I think are right. And they may conform with what the governors have to say. They may not. But what I'm saying is that we are not going to be getting together with our friends. We're not going to go see grandma and grandpa for lighting Hanukkah candles or for lighting up the tree. And we are going to wear masks every time we go out of the house. That's just the way that it's going to be. And I think that if parents get comfortable with laying down the law and explaining perhaps why that's the safe thing to do.
What happens when the law changes? As we pointed out, Fauci at one point said, Dad, don't wear masks. He started out with masks weren't going to save us from a pandemic. Then masks were. Then I'm not sure if they are. I think they are. But then he also said, close the schools. WHO says, open the schools. They're all over the board. What do you tell kids?
Well, I think you're going to have to listen to me. And I'm going to have to make the decisions here. That really is what it comes down to. I mean, it's just.
Come on, I mean, Armin, not the old because I said so, and then change your mind tomorrow, is it?
Well, we have to be at least somewhat consistent, and we can be honest with our kids and say, look, the science has evolved. We know some stuff now that we didn't know a couple of months ago, and if we can be honest about that. But the problem is that some of the people, the messages that are coming from the top or the side or wherever they're coming from, nobody ever apologizes for having made a mistake. And they just say, this is the thing. And no, that thing is wrong. This is the thing. And it's again, as we've been talking about, it's extremely confusing and inconsistent. But if we can explain this to our kids to the extent that they're able to understand it, that things change. And, now we know some stuff that we didn't know about masks. And in fact, we know that there's different kinds of masks, that a single layer mask is not as good as a double or triple layer. And we can explain why things are. And I think that will help to understand. And I think will help kids in the long run to understand that their life in general is filled with inconsistencies and problems and issues that are going to come up, and things are going to change. But we have to make the best decisions for our family as far as safety.
And then Armin, the final answer, which my dad always said, it overcame everything. Hey, son, life ain't fair. Get used to it. Armin Brott, thank you for your time.
Exactly. Thank you, Eric.